Hey everybody, what's going on? It's your boy King Gabe here, and here with a video that it's been a while since I've mentioned about doing. I may have possibly mentioned about doing this video. If I did, it was a while back ago. I may have mentioned of this on Facebook. I'm not sure if I made note about this on YouTube or not there. But if I did, it's probably on one of the videos I've done. About Mokuba x Rebecca. And yes, notice I ain't got my glasses on because when I put my glasses on, the ring light's reflecting on them. And I think it's done that in other videos, but yeah, so I just thought I'd, go like this for the day, for this video anyway. Anyway, so yeah, Mokuba x Rebecca from the Yu-Gi-Oh series. This was something I had been seeing a lot of on Facebook a while back. Like I said, I meant to do this video much earlier, like I say again, I don't know if not completely sure if I mentioned it to, you guys on any previous video, but if I did, it's on there. But whether I did or not, I actually had planned to make it earlier, so I'm making it now. Anywho, the thing is, it started with a post on Facebook. There was a post that was talking about Yugi and Rebecca together. And this was something that actually started from a fan fiction many years ago. I think I would say probably some point after Duelist Kingdom, when Rebecca was first introduced, right at the end of the series, when Yugi and everybody got back from, Duelist Kingdom and saved Grandpa and everything, and then Rebecca showed up, are you Solomon Moto? I might be Rebecca. So, and then her and Yugi had that duel, and her grandpa showed up and explained things about the Blue Eyes White Dragon to her, and, oh, Yugi, I'm so sorry. It's okay, Rebecca. You mean you forgive me? Here, I want you to have this. The ties of friendship. And they took this. Now, before I get to what they did in the series, before the series did it, there was looks like, forgive me for this here. Okay. Yeah. I was going to do this on my laptop, but I didn't feel like booting it up just yet there. But, because I got some other things I'm doing on it too. So anyway. So before the series got to this point, I remember back then, and forgive me for saying this if you're watching, Casey, back in the day, when we were still in high school, and I think Battle City had kind of started. You move. Well, during those days, or maybe slightly before Battle City started, and they were maybe still showing, reruns of Duelist Kingdom. Of course, Casey and I were role-playing Yu-Gi-Oh! But we were also looking at fan fictions, the series and stuff like that. Media minor was a really big thing as far as reading fan fictions back then. At least for me and Casey. I don't know. I'm pretty sure because there were fanfics on there, so obviously this had to be somewhat big for people to put their fanfics on this website there. So, but we've read a lot of fanfics on that site, possibly a few others, but Media Minor had the most of the Yu-Gi-Oh fanfics that we've read. Some were pretty good, had some pretty decent ones. Some, they weren't terrible, but it's just. And it happened, because it's fanfic and whatever, just that. And then you had some then of course there were some that we didn't really care for there, even for fanfic, because it was like, I don't really want to read that again. And so we go to the ones that we do like, all kind of people write different things, So one of the fanfics that was on there was a fan fiction that took place kind of in the future when Yugi was like a young adult. According to the English dub, Rebecca is supposed to be 8 years old, and obviously Yuki's in high school, ranging I think from the start of the series, I want to say he was 14. Of course, the manga might have started him off at 14 and then 15 when he went to Duelist Kingdom and everything. Like probably just aged him up for Duelist Kingdom and on. And then of course, Battle City probably at possibly 16, or maybe the series started when he was 15, possibly. But I want to say it started at 14 because think about Yugi kind of starting out in the series. I mean, I know it didn't start like on his first day of school, but I would at least say he done probably been up there for a few months, his first year, and still kind of kind of getting used to things there and everything. That's my assumption there, but I'm not completely sure what the age was according to the original writer, though. Only he would know, God rest his soul. So according to the anime, so yeah, English W anime, he was Yugi. I'm assuming they never really clarified his age or any of the other casts, but I'm just gonna make a guess, 14 or 15. That was how old I was when I first started watching it. So, and I know Yu-Gi-Oh premiered during while I was still in middle school, to be honest. But I didn't start, and I did watch it like last half of my 8th grade year. But I didn't really like get into it until high school. But anyway, so he probably a little older than me. Anyway, 15 or we'll just say for the English dub he was 14. Let's go back. Just my guess. Might not be correct, but we're just gonna go with that just as a guess. He's 14. Rebecca was 8, and I think that's what the fanfic put the two of them as. So I think that was setting a 6-year age gap between the two of them. Because in the fan fiction, it put Yugi as a 22-year-old young man. Kind of, I guess you could assume that's the age he was when he appeared in GX, possibly. Maybe a little older, but still in his 20s. He had that his voice had developed. That's why he sounded like Yami, but didn't have the Millennium Puzzle. You don't say. Something tells me this card belongs with you. Good luck. So, and Rebecca was still in high school as a 16-year-old, and the fanfic was shipping them together. Okay, so obviously this fanfic was written in response to her first appearance in the series. At the time it came out, and kind of, to the ties of friendship cards she got from Yugi and everything, to put sort of a relation between her and Yugi, as Yugi had now entered adulthood, and she was about to in a couple of years there. And of course, we all know Japan anime logic, Sailor Moon kind of started this. Probably some other animes did this, but Sailor Moon is the one I've noticed do this, with Mamoru and Usagi, that whole thing between them, because Mamoru is like a college student and Usagi is a 14-year-old middle school student. Technically, she would be, I guess, a high school student, but the school system might be a little different there. But anyway, so yeah, a 16-year-old and a 22-year-old. Yeah, and I know, but I know in reality how that would go over. I ain't gonna go into that. But on the plus side, both of their grandfathers are good friends with each other. Yugi and Rebecca do know each other, and again, both their grandpas, real good friends. Well, Solomon, how about a good old duel, chap? Is that a challenge I hear, Arthur? So I'm pretty sure they would be, I'm pretty sure, they cool with, if, they started a relation or something like that. I don't think that would really bother them, because that's, between the kid and the parents there. And then, she becomes 18, and then Yugi would probably propose to her in this person's fanfic universe. And in that fanfic, there was Rebecca had some kind of like superpower where she could, the card she touched would come to life. Pegasus was trying to get this power from her. Yeah, definitely fanfic. Yeah, because at the end of Duelist Kingdom, I'm pretty sure Pegasus kind of changed a bit there. Because the whole purpose of Duelist Kingdom was him trying to get his wife back. But after that, he really wasn't a bad guy like the other people you encounter like Merrick and stuff like that. Yeah, he was just pretty much his actions were all out of trying to get his dead wife back there. So yeah, that was the fanfic. Pretty much what I remember of it. So going from this fanfic, I'm not sure if the writer of the fanfic was from here in America or from Japan. However, I believe that this fanfic may have possibly resulted, and again, I could be wrong, but it may have possibly somehow got the attention of the writer of Yu-Gi-Oh! And the studios, here and obviously the studio and everything, and both Japan and here in America, and chances are it was like, hey, wouldn't this be kind of cool if you and Rebecca had a relationship, sort of like that, just like Sailor Moon, her and Tuxedo Mask, sort of like that thing going on, that'd be a good idea. Even though both the series and manga clearly builds up, more of Yugi and Taya together. So, this is the thing that happened. In Waking the Dragons, also known as the Doma arc, after Battle City and the virtual world and all that, Yugi and his friends, episode 3, they're trying to figure out who the new bad guy is and everything, and suddenly, Yugi, I've been looking all over for you. Excuse me? He's like, Yugi, you know her? He's like, let's see, this card should ring a bell. You did give it to me, remember? Rebecca! No way! You're that brat! Hi. You look different. You get a haircut or something? I don't know. She traded her teddy bear for glasses. I don't need a teddy bear now. I got a big, strong boyfriend to protect me. Excuse me, boyfriend? Yeah, and they didn't waste no time with her coming at Yugioh too. Which, yeah, I know her acting that way is actually not out of the ordinary. I will say that, because trust me, 8 years old. Japanese version, she was 13, but still, she has that childish nature, kind of like I did when I had a crush growing up there. I've had crushes ever since I was like 4 or 5 years old. I've had crushes on girls here and there ever since then. Yeah, one of my first crushes was 5 years old at our church. It was on a girl who was a guest at our church singing God Has Smiled on Me. Hi, how are you doing? 5 years old, by the way. So yeah, I could, and also when I was 8 years old, like Rebecca, I remember both me and another friend of mine, kind of / rival, two of us were both chasing after some teenage girls that were at our church, and kind of squabbling with each other over them, especially with picking flowers and stuff. Well, them like, I got one flower. No, I got two. Like, she mine. So, yeah, childish there. So, yeah, I could see. Now, of course, Rebecca obviously is somewhat a little more mature than, obviously, girls are obviously more mature than boys. Don't mean to step on your toes, guys. That's just the truth. Majority of the time, most girls are mature faster than us guys. That's just how it is there. So, as Timon say, it's a hard truth. Live with it. So, I know. Yeah. It's just that it is. So yeah, of course she is a bit more mature with it, but yes, still, because it's just one thing to have a crush on somebody. That's natural. Boy meets girl, that's natural. But to pretty much jump to the start of the boyfriend girlfriend. I mean, and even if you do know them somewhat, I mean, still kind of give some time to work your way up to something like that. I don't know now how much time, it varies on different people, but more than just one day. I mean, it's like this, like they explained in the Enchanted movie. Oh, Giselle will be married in the morning. Dude, you just met her. I've been dreaming of a true love's kiss. Yeah, seriously, you just met her. But, so, yeah, I could kind of see, even with a little maturity, still being at that age and still childlike, that she would kind of act that way. Yugi obviously just being nice, because he's a nice guy, and, probably not in him to just, like, shoot her down or, but, it's not in him to necessarily be mean to her. Now, of course, he did tell Kaiba off a few times. Obviously, but that's a totally different story there. Like the Dark Dimensions when he say, if this, say yes, say no. He said, look, I'm dueling Agami, and if not, we're gonna have a problem, Kaiba. A threat? Sure, why not? But he would stand up when he had to there. But a situation like this, he's kind of just being nice. He didn't want to hurt Rebecca's feelings and stuff like that, and that's pretty natural for his character, pretty understandable. I just don't like the fact that the writers put him into that situation there, and it's pretty obvious. I mean, you see how Teia's reacting to this. So then in Grand Championship, they tried to further this somewhat. They had other girls like Vivian trying to go for Yugi, so both Taya and Rebecca were trying to defend this love triangle. Especially Rebecca, when she dueled against Vivian, which I must admit, despite the Yugi-Rebecca shipping that I'm not too fond of, now Rebecca as a character, I have no problem with her character. Because one of my favorite episodes in Grand Championship is her against Vivian. Because I really like how they showcase her dueling skills in that episode. Even more than, when she faced Yugi. So this right here is actually a good show of her dueling skills and everything, like seeing her in action. And how she was able to take down Vivian and the strategy that she used behind it there, which was a lot of, pretty much more so lowering Vivian's life points without having to attack her much until the very end. So that was actually pretty smart there. So, and kind of using Vivian's own power against her too. So anyway, they kind of had that going. Then after Grand Championship, of course, you get back to Yugi and Taya. Dark Dimensions really show how, Yugi and Taya a little bit, closer together. English dub would show, you did get the fact that there was a little something with Yugi and Taya, but it was more shown in the Japanese version and also in the manga. Now, of course, there are some people in Yu-Gi-Oh groups and stuff, and I've encountered these people that will argue, well, Yugi is more fit with Rebecca Gabe because Taya loves a Tim, the other Yugi, and she showed it. It's right there, especially in the manga when she's daydreaming about him and stuff. Okay, here's to clear that up. Obviously, from the very beginning, anime or manga, obviously they did not start off right off, with the romantic feeling toward each other. They started off, Yugi's like, Taya's my childhood friend, in the manga version. In the anime, it seems like he just, I think he met Taya after Joey at the Burger World, and they started getting to know each other and hanging out after that. That's what I assume from the anime version. Whereas the manga version had him and Taya already friends at the very beginning before Joey and Tristan came along. So either way, yeah, it seemed like, yeah, like they're just childhood friends. Taya, there was a panel where Taya was like, hey, I come over to play. So yeah, obviously they started off just, childhood friends there. And that's an example of what I'm saying, good relationship, you build it up. Build up as friends first, and then, hi, think you want to take this to the next level or something like that. Even if you do have a crush on them from the beginning, still get to know the person. That's what they did. They were childhood friends growing up, and still kind of like that. But over time, in both manga and anime, just like in real life, they started to, feelings started to change back. Sort of like Kim Possible and Ron. Kim and Ron they started off as just best friends ever since kindergarten, preschool or kindergarten, and all the way up to high school. And we didn't get them getting close together until the movie So the Drama. And they sort of built up to that a little bit, sort of hinted some things that they could possibly get together, just sort of hinting at it. I think like probably after Stitch in Time movie, kind of leading into season 3. Season 3, I think, sort of showcased more hints leading up to the finale, where season 4, they're a couple. Yes, Kim and Ron. So that's kind of the way it is with Taya and Yugi. It was an overtime thing. That's why when Taya first became aware of a Tim, yeah, she kind of was, mostly the manga. Because at first she didn't even know what a Tim looked like. And then later found out that, there was, the Millennium Puzzle and him and Yugi kind of thing. So, like switch bodies and stuff like that. So she found that out. Yes, she had, but yes, okay. At one point, yeah, she did kind of like a Tim. Nothing wrong with that. Yeah, but, upon finding out that, same person, feelings started to shift a bit, started kind of questioning. But again, at that time, her and Yugi were just friends there. But then, also over time, as a Tim aside, she did start developing some feelings about Yugi the more she hung out with him. Just like even me and Christina. She didn't look at me as a boyfriend right away. That developed over time. Now, of course, it's a little different with adults there, but than it would be with, say, kids and teenagers, because they got a lot more time for that kind of stuff than we do. I mean, we have time too, but it's definitely more time there because you can't really get too serious until you grow up and turn 18, and then then start getting a little more serious. So yeah, over time, yeah, they started to develop feelings toward each other. And that's what led into both anime or manga. That's what eventually got, that episode when in the English dub, Yugi was saying, like, hey, Taya, maybe you can hang out with a Tim to help him figure out stuff about his past. He's been depressed and stuff like that. But in the Japanese version, it was really Yugi going out on a date with Anzu, but he sort of got nervous and switched to a Tim out of nervousness. So that wasn't intended. Intentionally, it was supposed to be him and Taya. She was expecting Yugi in the Japanese version, but he switched out to a Tim. And as far as, later, not at first. I know, like I say, yes, at first she did kind of like a Tim. But later on, as time went on, when she started developing feelings for Yugi, her relationship with a Tim was more pretty much similar to how pretty much Yugi, Joey, and Tristan probably looked at him when they became more aware of him and stuff. It was like, sort of like they're like one of their siblings, their older brother, or sort of, you ever have any of you guys, y'all have like an older brother or sister that also kind of acts similar to your mom or dad a little bit. Sort of like Lilo's older sister. She also had to be Lilo's guardian, somewhat of a mother figure too. So that's kind of what was going on of how they looked up to Tim, especially, he's like, 5,000 years old. So, yeah, he was, because, he was always, expositing advice about dueling and life and stuff like that, and encourage them, like encouraging them to do their best and stuff like that. So, yeah, he's like, yeah, he was pretty much like the guiding figure for all of them, even and eventually over time Taya, yeah, just like the rest of them, especially the duel with Tim and Evil Bakura, when everybody was dressed up like their favorite duel monsters, and it was and Tim was having to guide them through the battle and stuff. So anyway, that's kind of how things were with that. Of course, as time went on the show, you started to see more, probably more so in the Japanese, but a little bit in English, of Taya and Yugi coming close together, like especially the virtual world, when Yugi had was looking for Taya after her duel with Crump, and she was like, "Yugi, I was almost a human ice pop," kind of say so, and it really. What the payoff really showed, there were moments like Duelist Kingdom when she's like, "Oh, Yugi, you just got to win. If you don't, you just got to win." Think about what she probably was about to say. As my cousin Tiffany would say, And Battle City showed hints of it there, their concern toward one another. What really brings it out, both versions, even the English dub, is Waking the Dragons. Amongst the Rebecca throwing herself at Yugi, and he just being nice about it. True feel it's obvious, even obviously, Thea not really liking this, pretty much like me and some of the audience there. But when Yugi came back, after they battled darts and everything, and Yugi's soul returned, it's like, is that Yugi? And Mocha was like, well, he looks a little shorter. And Taya was the first to welcome him with open arms there. Say, yep, she was. So, yeah, it's like, wait a minute, Yuki, you just came back. So, and even like he's like, oh, you wanted to wish the Pharaoh good luck. Cause actually, I wanted to wish you good luck, Yugi. So, yeah. So, like I say, and not to say that she hates Tim or anything, but again, her feelings are toward Yugi. So, and it even shows more so, like I say, in the finale and everything. Yeah, and all of them were gonna miss a Tim. So it was just, it's like you saying goodbye to a good friend there. That's all it was there at this point. And then Dark Dimensions came. It obviously showed Yugi and Taya had gotten even were close to the point where when Grandpa said, "Don't you and Taya usually go to school to walk to school together?" Only little kids do that, Grandpa. Yeah, and you can tell by the tone of how Yugi said that, it's like, yeah, he sort of, yeah, like, okay, good, Grandpa, no. But, and then when he got to where him and Taya met up at, say, Yugi, hope I didn't keep you waiting too long. It's okay. So, yeah. And I know she went off to America for her dance thing, but I mean, Taya announced this way back in Duelist Kingdom and in the manga. She wanted to go study dance. But that has nothing to do with her and Yugi's relation. That's something she wants to do. So obviously, after she's taken her dance class and everything, her and Yugi would, come back, reunite and come back together. So possibly. So, like I say, Yugi x Taya is a much better shipping. I will admit, when Casey and I role played, I had the crush on Taya, obviously, but that was during the role play eras back in high school. And of course, this is real in reality. After growing up in reality, I had, obviously, meet up with Christina, and real relationship there. Have to move on from the role play relation. So in the original shipping, it is Yugi x Teo. Well, like I say, not by the role play standards, but by the original standards. And now this is what I feel like as far as this thing with Rebecca, because like I say, I don't hate the character. Rebecca is a really good character. I just don't like the fact of shipping her with Yugi. I feel more like she's Yugi's little, like she would be someone to look up to Yugi like a big brother to her. Sort of, more sort of like Serenity and Joey. I know not biologically, but that seemed like that would be the better chemistry between Yugi and Rebecca, would be more like a brother and a sister. So this is what I feel like they should have done as a what if. What if, okay, maybe you could kind of keep Rebecca throwing herself at Yugi because, the ties of friendship card kind of has feelings for him, but, it doesn't have, but don't make it permanent. After, as when Waking Dragons come, as it airs, eventually they ran into Kaiba and Mokuba, and they had to go into Kaiba Corp and face darts and stuff like that. This would kind of give a little bit of a interaction between Mokuba and Rebecca. You see where I'm kind of going with this? Lead into Grand Championship. Mokuba obviously clarifies that both him and his brother Seto know about Rebecca, as well as the other duels they've invited to the Grand Championship. And they're like, okay, this is why we've invited Yugi, Joey, and Rebecca, along with our other duelists, to compete in the Grand Championship. So obviously they would have to know about Rebecca's dueling skills, both Kaiba and Mokuba. Meaning that Mokuba would be, with Mokuba, I feel like this is what would sort of switch Rebecca from throwing herself at Yugi to coming over to Mokuba. Mokuba would actually be the one to sort of start the pull of Rebecca coming towards him, because he would actually see, Rebecca's dueling skill, see her in person, and then the episode where, and then also knowing about how Rebecca's hacking skills are. When Darth had taken over Kaiba Corp, she had to pretty much hack in there in order for Yugi and Kaiba to get as close as they did to darts. Then, now she wasn't successful in this one, but she did try to go in and figure out what was going on when Siegfried was messing with Kaiba Corp. And she was at least able to give them intel that, you got somebody from the outside hacking into you guys' system. Seeing all of this, I feel like they could have done more with Rebecca's character. So let's just say after she lost to Leon, maybe she would, because of that, they're still suspicious. They find out about Siegfried in the finale of the Grand Championship. When they go to try to get rid of this virus from the card that Siegfried had Leon play, maybe what could happen is Mokuba would like, hey Seto, remember how Rebecca helped us out? It's like, Rebecca, you think you could come help us out with this here? So now obviously she probably would not. But I'm trying to support you. But she would go. She would. They would come in. No, say because they need your help there. Okay, but keep rooting for my Yugi. So she would go with them, and as they're working to stop the virus, her help could actually be what allows Kaiba and Mokuba to get rid of Siegfried's virus after the duel is done. This would be impressive to Mokuba, and now I don't know what they would show after the tournament. Oh, this is what they could do. Maybe at the end of the Grand Championship, when they're all saying their goodbyes, Rebecca could be like, Yugi, there's something I need to tell you. I know you're a really great guy and all, and I really thank you for being so nice to me, but they well, I got this internship with Kyber Corp to be one of their to work with them, and Mokuba's kind of the one that suggested me to come there. Like, it's okay, Rebecca. Go and take that opportunity. Like, you really mean it, Yugi? Like, so this would lead to her and Mokuba getting closer together. And you get Mokuba x Rebecca. That's what should have happened. That's what I feel should have happened towards this series. So yeah, you can still kind of play around with this Yugi Rebecca thing, because like I say, it's sort of a childish thing, but not completely. But like I say, I understand where she's coming from on that. I was in that phase too. Where like I say, I chased after a teenage girl when I was like 8 years old too. So I get that going the other way around. So, and also with the anime logic, with Mamoru and Usagi. But the chemistry just does not fit with Yugi x Rebecca. It fits more with Yugi x Taya. But like I say, had they gone this other route I just mentioned, we could get Mokuba x Rebecca, and that would give her something as well, and even kind of, and maybe they could even, I would say, possibly, you could even do some stuff, throughout that arc. Maybe, I would say maybe even have, her first duel was Vivian, right? So maybe, because Mokuba, he led Joey to his first duel against Yugi's grandpa. So I would say maybe after that, after they see Rebecca and Vivian's duel, and Rebecca defeats Vivian, I would say after that, maybe, maybe that's where Mokuba would actually, when he was asking Yugi and the others, like, had they seen anything suspicious, maybe that's where he could kind of talk with Rebecca there, knowing her hacking skills, and actually, maybe Rebecca offers, like, okay, maybe I could help you guys out there. And they, but believe me, you need it, having her little sassy attitude and everything. And that could even start it right there. Like maybe before Rebecca's duel, she kind of helps him out a little bit when Siegfried was, messing around with the tech during his duel with Joey. He had that little watch and everything. I hope you're watching me, Kaiba. Look at me, look at me, look at me, look at me. So, yeah. Hello, Siegfried, I'm over here. Oh, hello. So maybe during that, Rebecca could actually be helping them out with that problem as well, with when to get things back in order again. And when Kaiba figures out, run a background check on Siegfried. So maybe during that, yeah. And then after they get things fixed, we know they had the unnecessary plot of Vivian kidnapping Grandpa. Well, not exactly kidnapping, but they thought that Grandpa was kidnapped and went to look for him, and they had that little thing with Vivian. And during that, this could be a good moment. Mokuba, now I know Rebecca's grandpa showed up. However, he could still show up, but imagine if Rebecca, like, oh, great, Joey lost his duel, but now Yugi can come cheer for me. And imagine if, after her grandpa shows up, and all the fans for Leon and Rebecca show up as well, Mokuba shows up out there, and Red's like, Mokuba? What are you doing here? I thought I'd come watch your duel, Rebecca. As a little way of saying thank you for helping me and Seto out back there. Ah, thank you, Mokuba. That's strange. Why do I feel this way suddenly? Anyway, let's duel, Leon. So, yeah, like that. And, yeah, with the rooting fans and then kind of noticing Mokuba cheering for her, Yeah, she kind of, yeah. So then when she loses to Leon, um, maybe, maybe instead of her getting upset, or I mean, she would be a little upset about losing. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, who wouldn't be? But maybe uh, when maybe Mokuba would actually come up to her, take the initiative to actually, like, hey, it's gonna be all right, Rebecca. And it's gonna be all right, Rebecca. Pretty sure Big Bro might have some other might have other tournaments, and you might and who knows, and who knows, you could possibly dominate those tournaments. You really think so, Moki? Mokuba? Yeah, so yeah, kind of could start it off there, and that's what would lead to the big finale. And next thing you know, maybe I would say, and then when everybody leaves and departs their ways, you could get a little montage of Mokuba and Rebecca just kind of hanging out at the park and stuff, which is in these little pictures that I made up on Facebook and everything. Be sure to check them out there. So, yep. So that's what I feel like, yeah, should happen now. I know it's already aired, Yu-Gi-Oh, it's done what it's already done, but that's my what if. And the proper shipping I feel like should be Rebecca and Mokuba and Yugi and Teo. So that's what I got to say for just to put my 2 cents out there. Of course, like I say, people are going to think what they want to think. That's not going to change anybody's opinion, and I'm not, and it's not my intention to change anyone's opinion, because like I say, nobody likes to be forced. But I just threw out, but like I say, we have every freedom to express ourselves and tell what we think the same way you guys, express yourselves here on YouTube. That's, YouTube started off, they say, express yourself. So like Jenny Jones, express yourself, whatever you do. So yeah, you express yourself. Hey, trust me, I will express myself in these videos and my posts and everything else. So, oh yeah, that's what I got. They say you might agree with it, you might not. But at least I done put my 2 cents out there. It's out here on video and everything. I done got it off my chest. So now that I've done that, whether you guys agree with me or not, I'm gonna be fine. Now that I got up, and matter of fact, I'm wrap this up. I'm gonna give me something to eat. I'll be just fine. As I say, enjoying a nice dinner with who I got shipped with, Christina, Queen Tina. That's who I've been shipped with. So y'all like, share, and subscribe, and get our available books. Definitely hit us up and support us on the Patreon. And also definitely support the Miracle Crew. Yours truly, King Gabe. Look pretty good without my glasses, don't I? Queen Tina, Janara Nellens, Jen, aka Chris Godfrey, Big Sis Casey, and EJ the Supreme. And also, definitely hang out with us in the live streams, Discord, and Facebook. And let's tell each other some stuff on that Macari app. And with all that said, we'll see y'all in the next video. Y'all take care, everybody. Now I'm going to get me something to eat.